Hello and welcome back to the Jerusalem Post. I'm your host, Tamar Uriel-Beeri, and I'm joined today by Adam Milstein. He's an Israeli-American real estate investor, lobbyist, and philanthropist, and the co-founder of the Adam and Gila Milstein Family Foundation, a nonprofit that aims to strengthen the state of Israel and its ties to the United States, as well as to strengthen the Jewish identity of American Jews and their connection to Israel. Adam, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Tamar. Happy to be here.
Adam, you have been a powerful force when it comes to bringing the funds needed to support Israel, now more than ever. Tell us a little bit about the Impact Forum Foundation, what that is, and what you do.
Excellent. Thank you. So I came here to the United States about 43 years ago and went into business. But over the last 20 years, I made a transformation from 100% a businessman to maybe 100% a philanthropist. And as a philanthropist, I kind of vet the different organizations that are active in the pro-Israel area. I work with them, I donate to them, and by doing so, I get to understand what each one is standing for, who is effective, who is not effective, who is willing to work with other, who is my way or no way. And right now, I'm helping about 100 different organizations, and give me really a unique perspective is how to unite and mobilize so many different organizations to work together. Going to the Impact Forum, our mission is to fight anti-Semitism, strengthen the state of Israel, and also protect American democracy. We feel that the enemies of the Jews and the enemies of America are the same. The enemies of Israel, the enemies of the Jews, the enemies of the American people, and the enemies of America are all the same. And while we are always the first one to be attacked, the target is first and utmost America and Western civilization. So in order to execute this vision, we have been vetting many, many organizations that are active in this field. We would then bring them into the Impact Forum and present them to a large network of philanthropists. The vision of the Impact Forum is to convene a large network of philanthropists that are all pro-Israel, they're all pro-America, and then present to them smaller, effective organizations that deserve their support. And we have been really summoning the Impact Forum since 2017, and it's been growing over the years and it's becoming very, I think, instrumental for many, many small organizations. Not only do we have those small and medium-sized organizations, but we also mobilize them and incentivize them to work together in synergy, in collaboration, to really create a bigger impact.
So, I mean, one of the issues, of course, that the goal here is to impact is the issue of anti-Semitism abroad. You've been outspoken both on the subjects of the needs for support for Israel and also the need to combat anti-Semitism abroad. How do you see the balance of these two missions? Do they work together in your philanthropic efforts, or is it more a divide and conquer type of mission?
So it's all, when you see the overall, I think, arena, you understand that the different missions need to work together, because at the end of the day, as I said before, we are facing same enemies. The enemies of Israel and America mobilizing and fighting us on so many fronts are all the same. So we can't just pick up one front and try to compete with them. We need to understand their vision, their mode of operation, and fight back against them on all fronts with many organizations. There are no one organization that can do it all. We always said there is no silver bullet. We need to mobilize many organizations to work together in different disciplines. Now, when it comes to nonprofit, here's the problem. They need to fundraise. And in order to fundraise, they try to take credit for things that maybe others did. They're not willing to collaborate. They're not willing really to reach out to other organizations and do joint campaigns together. I always saw that if we philanthropists come to those organizations and say, listen, guys, you're doing phenomenal, but we would like you to work together. And in order really to put our money where our mouth is, we will give you money, provided that you work with others. And this is exactly what we're executing in the Impact Forum. We are really bringing organizations, and with all our philanthropic power, which is not just me, it's the hundreds of people that come from time to time, we are supporting the organizations and we're asking them to work together for a bigger impact.
So you're really the glue that's holding it all together.
It's a good definition. I think I was given this title many years ago. I'm not sure I'm the glue of everything, but I am definitely a connector, a mobilizer, and really try to think outside of the box and do things that others don't do.
So I understand that, it is the same issue all in all, the issue of anti-Semitism and the issue of, support for Israel, or rather the lack of support for Israel. So, but nevertheless, are there different methods for gathering philanthropic funds for each individual issue, or is it kind of more of the same?
Well, I think after the October, for me, it was much before, but after the October 7, it became pretty clear that anti-Israel, anti-Zionism is anti-Jewish. It's anti-Semitism. When you see the people that are demonstrating violently in the streets and on American campuses, they don't care if a Jewish student is pro-Israel or not. Jews are Jews and Jews are the enemy. And I think more and more people understand that it's the same thing, really. Anti-Semitism and anti-Israel is the same thing. So that's why, our mission was always to fight anti-Semitism. Now, strengthening the state of Israel, you don't just do by fighting anti-Semitism. You also need to, I think, communicate the truth about Israel, communicate about Israel conduct in a way that people resonate with it. It's not just to fight our enemies, but we also have to do our positive campaigns at the same time. And of course, strengthen different Israeli organizations that are strengthening the nation and also fighting in the outside fronts.
So speaking of which, when it comes to raising funds for Israel in the middle of a war, where does that typically go?
I can tell you what we have done in the Impact Forum. So clearly, after the war started, a lot of Jewish organizations raised many, many millions, if not hundreds of millions, in order to help Israel in the war. So all the legacy organizations raised hundreds of millions of dollars. The small organization did not raise that amount of money, and they have been really struggling to gain support because most of the big money went into the bigger organizations. So in the Impact Forum right now, we are featuring organizations that are supporting the war effort in Israel, mostly army units, as well as organizations that are fighting anti-Semitism in the United States. So for example, we have brought to the Impact Forum Maglan, we brought to the Impact Forum Sayeret Matkal, we brought to the Impact Forum other units of the army, we brought to the Impact Forum Brothers and Sisters for Israel, we brought to the Impact Forum the Thank Israeli Soldiers. So we're bringing organizations that either supporting, combat army units or helping terror victims or helping soldiers outside of the army. At the same time, we brought many organizations that fight anti-Semitism here in the United States. We brought StopAntisemitism.org. We brought the Brandeis Center. We brought the Cyberwell, if you're familiar with it. We brought Stand With Us. We brought the Israel on Campus Coalition. So we have kind of split the organization that we present in the Impact from post the war to organizations that support the state of Israel, the soldier, terror victims, and organizations that fight anti-Semitism here in the United States.
It's not an easy task at all, especially now with philanthropic organizations having reported struggling to raise money as of late. And it's in part related to the war. Are you seeing this effect in the Impact Forum? Is there a return in donors now?
We do. I think the Impact Forum is unique not only because we support the smaller and medium-sized organizations that are willing to work together, but we also bring a network of philanthropists, people that maybe accept 2-3 organizations that don't really know all the different organizations. And here we're doing a great service to the community. We identify and vet close to 100 organizations. And so far, we brought 70 of them into the different Impact Forum events. So we bring those philanthropists into our dinners or lunches. We allowing them to meet each other so they can venture on their own to work on different issues they choose. But in addition, we present to them a large network of pro-Israel, pro-American organizations that they can pick and choose and support. So I agree that post the war, since so much of the money went into the legacy organization, for example, the Jewish Federations of America raised close to $1 billion. So that's clearly dilutes most of the donors. They can't give so much every month. Nobody imagined that the war that started in October, now we are in March, and it's still not ending. So people are exhausted, people are diluted, and it's really hard for them to give more money. But what we do is we really summon, we convene close to 200 philanthropists in every session. Every 3 months we have an event. We present to them 5, 6 organizations. And so far, 2 events that we had post the war, one in November and one in February, we were able to raise, for us, tremendous amount of money. In November, we raised $1.4 million for 7 organizations.
Wow.
Some of them I mentioned. And in February 1st, we raised $1.1 million for 5 organizations. So the average is 200,000 an organization. And those are small organizations. Sometimes we exceed their annual budget. Wow. So I think we're doing a tremendous service both to the community of philanthropists, and both to the network of pro-Israel organizations.
Yeah, it's really creating a platform for the network to function at a higher rate. Now, my final question is this: in your professional opinion, how has the fight to combat anti-Semitism changed since the October 7th massacre and since the war broke out?
We've been speaking about the rising anti-Semitism for many years. And, I started speaking about it maybe 8 years ago. And people were blaming me for anti-Semitism. They claimed that because I speak about it and I try to alert the community, I'm actually creating anti-Semitism. Because I didn't speak, there will be no anti-Semitism. So I've been an alarmist for many years. I wrote about it extensively. Some of the articles appeared in the Jerusalem Post. And I think today, post the October 7th, many people in the Jewish community agree that I was right. And they come to me and say, Adam, you were right. You're probably very happy. I'm not very happy, of course, that I was right. But if I was smart enough to see the problem 10 years ago, 8 years ago, I try now to use my knowledge, my experience, and my philanthropic power in order to find maybe ways we can fight back. As to the Jewish community, yeah, they're waking up, understanding that anti-Semitism is here. It's nothing to do with Israel. It's anti-Jewish. They feel betrayed by their progressive friends. So we see a movement of liberal Jews moving from the left maybe to the center, but still they're not with us completely, at least not all of them. I read articles and I see what they're speaking, and they're still blaming white supremacists for anti-Semitism. While white supremacists have always been anti-Semites, and they will always be anti-Semites, what we see today in the streets, the demonstration, the riots, the harassment, is not coming from neo-Nazis or white supremacists. It's coming from people from the left and from Muslim people, or what I like to call the Islamo-leftist alliance. And as this anti-Semitism wave will continue to accelerate and grow exponentially, I really hope to see more Jews and more philanthropic Jews changing what they're doing, who they support, and try more actively and more, I think, generously support organizations that fight anti-Semitism and strengthen the state of Israel. I know that more resources are going now into some of the organizations to fight anti-Semitism, but as I mentioned before, the big amounts, the hundreds of millions, they're going into the legacy organization that are searching exactly who in Israel should get the hundreds of millions that they collected, but very small amount goes to fight anti-Semitism, and I think this is not good. This is what my focus is, and I hope that more people will join us.
Adam Milstein, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Take care.